Oof. Looks like we stumbled a bit with The Flash, issue 754. Written by Joshua Williamson with pencils by Rafa Sandoval, inks by Jordi Tarragona with colors by Arif Prianto and Hi-Fi, and letters by Steve Wands. And this story starts with the victory of the Reverse Flash over Paradox, with Thawne telling Barry that for once he was seen as a hero and the Flash's worthy successor. The two then make their way back to the 25th century, heading to the Flash Museum where Thawne retrieves a lightning rod that can harness the powers of the Speed Force, the same rod that helped him defeat Paradox the first time. Meanwhile, Paradox continues his crusade of killing the various versions of Barry Allen throughout time to discover that he's getting nowhere and that the death of the Flash only solidifies his legacy. Paradox then feels Barry and Thawne moving through the time stream and then gets an idea, forcing Godspeed to run once more. Around this time, Barry and Thawne end up in a time before Paradox had been transformed, with Thawne deciding they need to kill the man before he becomes Paradox. Barry disagrees, and Thawne decides to lunge at the future Paradox, but Barry stops him, where as the two fight, Paradox appears and kills his past self, creating the biggest paradox of all, which gives him enough crisis energy to unleash his full power and erase the time stream. This leaves only Paradox, Barry, Thawne, and Godspeed, where Thawne tells Barry they have to kill Paradox here and now to save all of time. And all of time is erased. What else could go wrong? And again, I'm kind of torn. On one hand, I think that the stuff with Barry and Thawne is actually pretty good. As I stated in my previous video, the idea of having Barry and Thawne team up is so interesting because you know that Thawne is going to absolutely get a kick out of it and Barry's gonna hate it, with Thawne just getting to poke and prod, trying to see if maybe he can get Barry to snap, with Barry trying not to actually punch him in the face. But then you have things like Barry being surprised that Thawne's final solution to the whole thing was, let's just kill the guy who's going to become Paradox. Which of course just ended up in a fight anyway. I mean, who saw that coming? Oh, I did, because it's the Reverse Flash. This is what he does. And again, the rules of time travel in this instance with all these paradoxes and stuff, it just kind of seems all over the place. I mean, Thawne has seen the quakes in the time stream. How does he even know that this would even work with time being kind of messed up at the moment? I mean, he in himself is a walking paradox who has died countless times, but is still allowed to somehow be around. And then you got Paradox, who is just continuously going back further and further and further in time and just killing Barry Allen over and over and over again. So much to the point where I'm just kind of like, shouldn't Barry and Thawne, when they're actually stopped at different points in time, be seeing like some kind of effects? Especially Barry, because Paradox had said in the previous issue that he merged his powers into the Speed Force. Barry's powers aren't glitching or anything like that. It's kind of odd. You would think something would be happening within time and the Speed Force. I also think that there was a bit of a missed opportunity with Thawne here, because he has always thought himself to be the rightful successor to the Flash. And having defeated Paradox the first time, I mean, I guess one could surmise that he would think that, okay, I did it once, only I can do it again. And I think it would have been a very interesting moment that in his belief, he actually does kill Chris, the man who will become Paradox, and ends up giving Paradox that last boost of power that he needed, essentially making the end of the book Thawne's fault, which possibly may have kicked him off his high horse long enough for him to be able to actually talk with and work with Barry in order to defeat Paradox. Also, there's this one really big mistake with one of the panels, and it's quite jarring to read, where Thawne's dialogue is coming from Barry and Barry's dialogue is coming from Thawne. I have no idea how that made it past editorial, but it did. And as we get closer to the end, I am worried that this is going to be a stumble across the finish line rather than a strong finish. Though I will say, the art by Rafa Sandoval in this book is really good. I think it's one of the best highlights of the book. But in the end, I wanted to like this book more than I did. And believe me, I mean, I tried. I've actually been a champion of Joshua Williamson's Flash for such a long time, and really only in these last few issues, I would say, has the cracks really been starting to show. And I just hope as we near the end of his run that he really strengthens up the writing a little bit, starts to explain things a little bit better, establishes some more guidelines and rules, and just makes this a super strong finish, much like the start. And it is with a heavy heart that I'm going to grade The Flash 754 a 6.8. So The Flash, issue 754, have you read this book? I would love to hear your thoughts. Please leave your comments in the comment section below. And if you like this video, I'd love it if you'd smash that like button, share it with some friends, subscribe if you're not subscribed already, and ring that notification bell for more comic book content. And if you're wondering what to watch next, consider one of these 2 videos. And don't forget to check out the Flash Volume 5 playlist right up here. Alright, take care, have a great day. As always, stay geeky.